What family member do you have absolutely no sympathy for? I'd been living with my older brother Harry for 2 years when he pulled a sewer slide prank on me. Our parents died when I was 11, and Harry, 19 at the time, fought for custody instead of letting me go into foster care. I found him in the bathroom, wrists opened, a goodbye note on the counter, with my favorite song on in the background. I have a weak heart, I'm prone to heart attacks, so the moment I saw what I thought was my dead brother, my only family, I collapsed. I don't remember much else, other than him leaping up shaking me. It's a prank, over and over before everything went black. I died and was resuscitated twice. When I woke up 8 hours later, the doctors said my heart was now 3 times weaker, and I was now at risk of sudden cardiac death for life. They put me on 7 medications and made it clear that significant stress, like another prank, would kill me. That night, Harry sat on my bed crying harder than at our parents' funeral. I'm so sorry. I'm such an idiot. I just wanted to see if you'd care if I was gone. I promise I'll never do anything like that again. I'm all you have and you're all I have. I was 13. Where was I supposed to go? For the first few months, he seemed to change. He found us a family therapist specializing in guardian ward relationships with medical complications. Harry followed everything that was said and treated me like glass. He'd triple check my medications, made my favorite foods, and sat outside my door until he heard me breathing steadily. One night, I caught him at 3 a.m. researching my medications and congestive heart failure in teens. Weirdly, I began thinking nearly dying was the best thing that happened to our bond. But then he started putting less effort in. He'd have friends over late while I tried to sleep. When my chest pains hit, he'd roll his eyes saying he was too tired to get my medicine. He picked up fewer shifts, saying I needed to learn independence and get a cash under the table job despite being 13. He began drinking because caring for me was stressing him out. Soon he was telling his friends I was exaggerating my condition for attention, using my heart as an excuse to be a dramatic teenager. I started locking myself in my room because he'd bang on the door yelling about how I couldn't even show gratitude after everything he sacrificed. He even started intentionally spiking my heart rate again. I'd come out of the bathroom to him jumping out going boo when one of these scares ended with me on the floor clutching my chest. He laughed and said I was being dramatic. I had to crawl to get my medicine. After my heart rate thankfully stabilized, I knew I had to get out. I called our caseworker the next morning while he was at work. Within 24 hours, I was in emergency foster care. My foster parents, the Potters, threw themselves into my healing process. Mrs. Potter's nephew Andrew had a heart condition too, and he showed me the best ways to live a life as close to normal as possible. The Potters adopted me after a year, and my doctor said my heart was getting healthier in the stable environment. 4 years after the prank, I was 17 and thriving. I got a call from an unknown number. It was Harry, panicked and desperate. Thank God you answered. He'd assaulted his girlfriend's elderly father. The man called him out for showing up drunk to his daughter's birthday, and Harry punched him repeatedly in the stomach. There was security footage. They were pressing charges. Can you testify for me? Tell them what a good brother I was? I stayed silent. Remember how I took care of you after mom and dad died? I gave up everything. I just made a mistake. Still silent. I'll go to jail if you don't help. It'll be your fault. You already destroyed our family once. My jaw dropped. Our parents had died driving to pick me up from practice. I'd felt guilty about it all my life, and he was using it to gaslight me. That was when I responded. It's crazy how you still think consequences for your actions are other people's faults. This is different, he yelled. You were sick and you expected me to do everything and that's your problem. I cut him off. You almost killed me and saw yourself as the victim. Now you beat an elderly man and still see yourself as the victim again? Silence. But you know what? I added. I'll testify. Really? Excitement flooded his voice. I knew you'd come through. We're family. I hung up. In court, I watched him shaking until he saw me. His face lit up and he relaxed, mouthing thank you, and making a heart with his hands like when I was little. I smiled back. I sat with my adoptive parents watching the prosecutor tear him apart. He kept looking back at me like I was his lifeline. I'd nod reassuringly. When called to testify about his character, I made eye contact with him. There's a lot I can say about Harry, I started. He smiled, but none of them are good. His face crumbled. He's a manipulative, abusive monster who terrorized a 13-year-old with a heart condition. He's someone who pulls sewer slide pranks on sick children, then beats elderly people. He deserves every minute he's facing. When I finished, he looked so defeated I barely recognized. He got the whole 10 years he was facing.